Dave Palumbo here with an RXMuscle news update. Coming up this weekend is the IFBB Chicago Pro, being held in Atlanta, Georgia this year. And it's the last Olympia qualifier for the men's open division, and it's going to be an exciting one because we have a really stacked lineup. Justin Rodriguez coming off that second place at the New York Pro a couple of weeks ago. You know, probably one of the favorites going into this event. I mean, he seems to be getting better and better and better. A lot of people thought he could have won that event. He's got a lot of momentum on his side. He seems to have the coaching down right. He's got the program down right now, and he's bringing the level of conditioning that we are expecting to see from him. And when he brings that level of conditioning with all the genetic gifts that he has on stage, he's very hard to beat. But this lineup is no slouch. We have Akim Williams making his debut and trying to qualify for that Olympia here. This is a dangerous guy. Akim came on really strong last year. He looked really good at the Olympia. He's finally been able to really get that level of muscle maturity and the detail in his back that he had been lacking for the past couple of years. He's come into his own. He's got a very small waist. He's got all the genetic gifts that you would want to have in a bodybuilder, and his presentation has improved tremendously over the last couple of years. I think Akim and Justin Rodriguez will match up really good against each other in this lineup. And they both have freak factor, and look, freak factor is what it's all about, right? When they battle each other out, they're going to be the two highest ranking guys probably in the lineup. But we have a rookie entering his first pro show, just turning pro a few weeks ago at the North American, Nick Walker. He's the talk of the town right now. He's young. He's got a ton of muscle. Comes in crazy shredded. He has got freak factor galore combined with youth. And a lot of people, especially the younger generation of bodybuilders that are out there, would love to see him crack this top three, win this show, and go to the Olympia. So Nick Walker is definitely a wild card in this lineup, and I think we have to take him very, very seriously because he's got a lot of muscle, and he can match up very well with Rodriguez and with Keem Williams. He probably, per height, per square inch, he has more muscle, and he always seems to come in condition. And these are two things that Justin Rodriguez and Akim Williams sometimes have problems with nailing their conditioning. So can a Nick Walker come in here and upset this lineup? Absolutely. I see him as a top three threat right off the bat. Will he win? Who knows? It's his first pro show. Obviously, he doesn't have the stage experience that some of these guys have, but he has certainly got all the size and conditioning you need to go in and win a show. So we've seen it happen before with Hunter Labrada. We might see it with Nick Walker, and I'm sure a lot of fans, myself included, would love to see him at the Olympia. Now, we also have Maxx Charles coming in here, who is, I should have mentioned him also when we talk about high-ranking, bodybuilders. This is a guy who's won pro shows. He's been on the Olympia stage. He also looked tremendous, the last couple shows that we've seen him at. Milos Sarshev has been helping him. His conditioning has been tremendous. I think where you might have some problems here is that, we've said this a million times before, although his legs look good at the last show he was at, they're not his strongest body part. You come in here against a guy like Nick Walker, who's got tremendous legs, Akim Williams, who's got tremendous legs, he might have a problem in this lineup. However, Max has got an upper body that's, second to none. He's got arms and shoulders and delts and back and pecs. So that's a dangerous weapon when it's in the best shape of his life. Will Max bring the Max we saw a couple weeks ago into this show? I think we will. I think we're seeing him on an upswing. I think Milos is really looking over him and watching him carefully, and I think that Max is really motivated to come in here and try to win this show, because let's face it, whoever goes out with the victory here is going to have a lot of momentum going into the Olympia, and that's what it's all about here. Now, Josh Wade is another guy we really have to consider, because I've never seen Josh out of shape at any shows in recent memory, and he's always a guy who's right there waiting for guys to come in out of shape, and he beats them. So he's a top 5 guy for sure in this lineup. How high he goes is going to be dependent on some of the genetic freaks in the lineup, how they'll do. How the Akim Williams, how the Justin Rodriguez's, how the Nick Walkers do, how the Maxx Charles do. If those guys are off, Josh just slides right in there and takes their spot. And that's why he is so dangerous, because we know, and history has told us, no one shows up Okay, we never see a lineup where everyone's in shape. It's an impossibility. It's never happened in the sport. It never will happen in the future. On Win, another high-ranking guy in this lineup. Not a high-ranking Olympia guy, but he's a guy who's always right there in that top 3 or 5 at every pro show he competes at. He's got tremendous symmetry. We've seen him bring good conditioning the last time he was on stage recently at the Cal Pro. Dangerous, another dangerous guy because of his shape and structure, but he's in a lineup that's stacked here. So I think On is going to have a lot more, problems in this lineup. We also have the second comeback of Johnny Jackson in this lineup, who was a guy who could have won the show, innumerable times in his youth. Is he past his prime at this point? Are these guys just too good for him? I think Johnny's going to have a problem, not in the upper body, because he's got one of the best upper bodies in bodybuilding. I think his legs are just going to really hold him back in this lineup. I haven't seen him recently. I'm assuming he's going to probably come in at his best. Once again, he's a guy who's dangerous if other guys are off. So I say Johnny Jackson, dark horse. He'll be a factor if people are not at their best. One other person to consider, or 2 other people that you can consider as outside dark horse chances. Stephen Frazier, one of the best structures in bodybuilding. We just haven't seen him put it together the last couple of years. I don't know if he's what he's looking like these days, or if he's going to be a factor in this lineup. And of course, Phil Klahar, who placed 4th in Tampa, he is also a very dangerous X factor here too, because he's got the crazy structure, he's got tremendous conditioning, and he's a guy who, if he brings it to the stage, he could certainly be top 5 here in the Chicago Pro Show coming up this weekend. So watch out for Phil as well. All right, who's going to win? I don't know. This is an exciting lineup because we have so many great competitors in it. And we're going to know, obviously, on Saturday who brought the goods and who didn't. But this will come down, I promise you, to who's in the best shape. Conditioning will win this show, mark my words. I'm Dave Palumbo with an RXMuscle News Update.